This was a few days earlier, but I think this is the very old episode where Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, was speaking on this certain line, and that kind of totally flips the way we think about success. So, the exact statement, what he stated was the most successful people I know believe in themselves almost to the point of delusion. And that kind of stuck behind my head, and I keep on thinking, what is the point of delusion? Why does delusion work in a different way to these successful people? And from the day onwards, after listening this statement, I kind of start thinking myself, if delusion is not negative, if delusion is positive to achieve certain things in your life in a form of a success, in your career, in your professional, in your goal, whatever it may be, then there may be something good about this. We constantly use the term you're so much in delulu, right? In a negative format, but he kind of put it in a complete different way, which kind of aghast me to a process to think a little more deeper into this. As I was researching all the different way of delusion, I kind of thought, why not make a podcast and share it with you people? If this is going to be helpful to me, it will be helpful to you as well. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 41 of our ongoing series Hot to Hot podcast. I am so glad today here because we are going to dive into a concept that honestly might sound a little crazy at first, but I promise you it's something that will change the way you approach your goals, your career, and your life. Now I know what you're thinking, delusion, right? That does not sound very healthy. Isn't that kind of dangerous? Well, yeah, maybe, but also no. Let me break it down for you. Okay, let's talk about this delusion thing. When we hear the word delusional, we often think of someone who is completely out of touch with reality, right? Like they are living in a fantasy world where anything is possible and they ignore all signs to the contrary. It is like that guy, who swears he's going to be the next big rock star despite never having played an instrument. Or someone who has been trying to launch the same business for years but refuses to listen to feedback. But here is the thing, when Sam Altman says that the most successful people believe in themselves almost to the point of delusion, what he is really talking about is unwavering self belief. The kind of belief that helps you pursue the impossible, even when others think it's a long shot. Think about the world's greatest visionaries. Elon Musk believed in electric cars long before they were viable. He believed in colonizing Mars, and at times people thought he was completely delusion. But it was the belief that pushed him to keep going when others told him to quit. One of the prime example is SpaceX, where he said the rocket will be launched and it will be landed back to its base, but he was able to do the first three times it was failure, but the fourth time it was successful for him. Oprah Winfrey believed that she would change the way people viewed personal growth and media, even when she came from a place where no one would have bet on her. Steve Jobs thought personal computers would change the world. He was mocked for his ideas, but look where that led him, right? What all of these people have in common is a deep, almost delusional belief in their own ideas and their own ability to bring them to life. Without that, they would have never made it, and that's where the magic is. No, I'm not saying you should throw caution to the wind and ignore all the signs of danger. There is a balance to everything. Because self belief without any real wall grounding can quickly spiral into true delusion. That's where you go off track. In a very simple way, believe you can and you're already halfway there. If you have listened to this quote, it is exactly the same thing, almost to the point of delusion. But here you are having this extraordinary idea or extraordinary vision of your life, which you're currently not into, but you know deep down its capacity and its capability is within you, and you will be able to achieve if you go through certain way along the timeline of your life. Let me describe the fine line between self belief and self delusion. So, if the key is having enough belief to dream big, how do you avoid crossing that line into the dangerous zone of true delusion? That's really an important question. It's something we have to navigate very carefully. Sam Altman hits the nail on the head with this. Self belief must be balanced with self awareness. Truth seeking is hard and often painful, but this is what separates self belief from self delusion. That's the real magic. The ability to stay self aware when you're locked into this big vision. So, the question is, how do you keep the fire of delusional belief alive while also staying grounded enough to course correct? It is a different question to ask. If there is a constructive criticism coming along the way, will you be able to take this and follow it along? For example, nobody have done this in your family in the last decades, or never in the century have thought women should be like this, men should be like this, or whatever the scenarios. But you have this very bright vision for you saying, it is possible for me to break this generation trauma of what we are going through. But as you are speaking, is it possible that you're not diluting yourself into something which going to cross the line of understanding and hurting someone? So in the same way, if you are having some greatest idea in your life, and I think one of the good example I could give myself is YouTube. We are almost to the point of delusion. When we post our first video, we have no idea that we will be subscribers to follow, we have no idea that will be supporters along the way coming in, but we know deep down that we can able to give certain content which would be helpful, which could also bring the enthusiasm of artistic mind, the creative brain cell, into an active point. Okay. All right, let's get into the good stuff. I'm going to share 4 key strategies that will help you navigate that fine line between delusional self belief and grounded awareness. These are ways to keep your delusional dreams alive without going off the rail. Let's dive in. Number 1 strategy: cultivate radical self belief, but start small. The first strategy is to embrace the delusional self belief, but don't let it overwhelm you. Sometimes, when you look at the magnitude of your dream, it can feel impossible, so overwhelming that it freezes you in your track. So, here is the trick: start small. It's about cultivating belief without biting off more than you can chew. Dream big, but don't make the goal so massive that it paralyzes you. For example, you want to be a data science engineer in the next year. And when you look at data science, it's not easy. There is algebra, linear algebra, algorithms. There are a lot of mathematicals you should learn along the way. And the moment you look at the data science and the moment you look at the syllabus, it's going to paralyze you to the fear of point like, oh, I don't know what it is. So break it down as simple as you can. The basic math, the basic understanding, the basic linear algebra, or the basic of algebra could also work for you. So if you start with a smaller goal, let me learn linear algebra in the next 2 months, it is possible. But the moment you look into the entire data science structure, it's going to take up your head to next level. Okay, so that's a prime example. Another way of describing is, imagine you're going to write a book. Awesome, right? But when you look at the idea of writing 300 pages, it will feel daunting. So here is where your delusional beliefs kick in. You believe you can write that book, but the key is starting small. Aim for 1 page a day, then 2. Focus on small, digestible tasks that prove to yourself that you can do it. What is your action step? Break your big goal into tiny milestones. Celebrate those tiny wins, because each one is proof you're on the right path. We often forget to celebrate our tiny wins because we are more focused on our bigger goal to achieve. I will celebrate only when I finish the book. No, you should not do that. You should start celebrating from the time you have said, if I finish writing down this 10 page, then I will treat myself to certain thing. That would actually help you for better. Strategy number 2: seek feedback, but don't let it break your confidence. Very important, you should keep in mind. One of the most common traps people fall into is listening to every single bit of advice they get. And while feedback is absolutely important, there is a difference between helpful advice and people projecting their own limitations onto you. Look, if Elon Musk had listened to all the critics who said Tesla was too risky or that Mars was impossible, he'd still be working in a regular tech company. When people say you can't do it, listen, but don't let that voice stop you. What is your action step here? Seek out a small circle of trusted advisor who believe in your potential but will give you honest feedback. Make sure you can distinguish between useful advice and just negative opinion based on other people's fear. A lot of the time when you're doing something new apart from what people have not done in yours, lineage or in your ancestor, they would simply say it's going to be difficult. They're simply going to instill fear in you. Keep fear apart. Keep fear apart. Focus on just the feedback, what you want from those people. Okay, fear is something which will stop you from being who you are, or will stop you in your self-belief in a longer term. Strategy number 3, regularly reality check your belief. Okay, this is where the true art of productive delusion lies. It is not about ignoring reality, it's about balancing reality with that unshakable belief you can still make it happen. You need to regularly check in with yourself to make sure that the delusional you are living still align with real progress. But how do you do that? Simple. Set regular milestones and benchmark to evaluate your progress. Every few weeks, check if you're still moving forward or if something needs to be adjusted. Ask yourself, is this still aligned with my long term vision? What feedback am I getting? This helps you stay grounded in reality. You don't have to be that head wife or someone who is very proud of what you are going to do in future, but rather you should be very calm, very silent, just doing under the rug all this time. And finally, when the book is ready to publish, you go ahead and publish. Till that, no talking, no seeking, nothing. Just focus on who you are. Trusting in your belief is something which is going to lead you in the right path. Number 4, be ready to pivot. Here is the thing, no path to success is linear. It's not about stubbornly sticking to one way of doing things, but about staying fluid and adjusting as you go. That's where self awareness really shines. And my way of saying is in agile methodology. You should always be ready to move up and down, increase, decrease, whatever you can. But there is no like step 1 is this, step 2 is this. When you have that flexibility in you, you would do more than that. So imagine you have this target 10 page a day or 10 page a week, and this week you are not able to do because there was celebration happening, festival going on, and when you are able to do just 1 page, that's totally up to the mark. That does not stop you from doing 20 page the next week. Okay, the potential is in you. So let's say your idea it is gaining traction. That's not the end of the world. That's feedback. The most successful people are the one who can take that feedback and pivot without losing the sight of the ultimate goal. Start open to pivoting. It does not mean giving up. It means adjusting your sales while staying true to your core mission. Here's a key takeaway you're going to remember from this podcast. Number 1, believe in the impossible, but start small and build your confidence. Number 2, seek feedback, but know who to listen and who to ignore, because there are a lot of noise out there. You're just going to listen to people who is going to make an effective decision in your project which you're currently into. Number 3, reality check your belief regularly, but don't let setbacks define you. Even like I said, if there is a festival happening, you are not able to write the 10 page in a week, that's totally fine. You can rewind or you can get it done at least 15 page in the following 2 weeks. Number 4, be ready to pivot when necessary, but always keep your ultimate vision in mind. Nothing is linear in life. It's always agile the best. So follow those methodologies. If you can embrace these strategies, you will be able to stay in the sweet spot of predictive delusion, and wherever your belief or wherever your belief in yourself is so strong enough to drive you forward, but balanced with enough self awareness to keep you moving in the right direction. And remember, the most successful people I know didn't just sit back and wait for the big break. They were bold, they believed in themselves, and they stayed delusional enough to change the world while also staying grounded enough to know when to adjust. Thanks for joining me today on this journey in the art of productive delusion. If you are feeling inspired, share this episode with someone who needs to hear, because hey, you all use a little bit more delusion to help us chase our big dreams. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and as always, stay delusional and in the best way possible, because win is the only thing we are good at doing, nothing else.